It started.
Okay.
And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive.
Right. What's going on?
Yes, sir. What's up, y'all?
It's been a while. We're just doing a test here, but it worked, so we'll pop off a little something for you guys. It was not working. Live stream was not working the other day, but glitch in the system, glitch in the matrix.
Let's get up on in here.
How is everybody doing? Got a couple hundred people already jumped up in here. Linda Everhart.
By the way, it was on my recommended the second I started up my other machine, which is always a good thing.
It's a good sign.
Before we know that maybe the floodgates have been partially opened for the Pat Riot hour.
The Pat Riot. Don't try it. All right, so what's going on in the world? What have we seen? What do we know?
There's been some pretty crazy things happening. I like the Ghost Hillary passed.
Ghost of Hillary's passed.
Oh, yeah.
Democrats introduced bill to bankrupt gun manufacturers with lawsuits. That's a hot topic.
Think they can come at the gun manufacturers. I mean, that's one big giant
conglomerate.
That's big money against big money. So we'll see how that goes. You know, one's got governmental contracts and the other one has governmental contracts as well. So we'll see.
Yeah. Let me see here, folks.
Loving it, by the way. Yep, looking good.
I'll put up the live stream here. Michigan here. Welcome.
Yes, yes.
Hello from Minnesota.
Beautiful day under the firmament. I enjoy it. I agree.
JFK Jr. So yeah, we were just talking about that a little bit ago. Magazine, crazy articles from 1999 talking about put it on the shelf.
Crazy.
Sharon Barosa. Thank you. Hi, gentlemen. God bless all. Thank you for the super chat. People checking in, questions from coming all over. But yeah, JFK Jr., we'll get back to that in a minute. Is the HRC video still out there? Went over an article where the two people that were in possession of it got killed. I don't understand it. I really don't.
Yeah, people are again suiciding themselves and dropping off like flies, and it seems to be the norm around certain organizations, and that's how they kind of roll. So
certain individuals.
I mean, we laugh, but it's crazy. It is really getting crazy. All of our mods, what's up? Danielle Bird, thank you. All the mods coming up in.
Nexium trial, by the way, both sides rest their case, and after jurors see porn photos of Mexican child sex slaves.
Oh,
looking at some articles here, folks.
That's probably what they're just telling us in the public optics. They're probably not showing us the snuff films that they've confiscated that's been deemed evidence and ongoing trials,
Yeah.
sealed indictment stuff. I'm hoping and crossing for.
We got Danielle Bird and Simone Ellis in the house modding. Welcome, moderators.
What's up,
welcome,
y'all?
Patriots. Come one, come all. Legacy Truce in the house. Jason Goodrich. Shannon Barusa. Then welcome, Marianne. Sherry
Randy
Fleck.
Robbins.
Blue Ridge Coffee Crafters TV. Payday fake Russian agent. He is only in custody and singing. The pigs are killing themselves. Lots going to be coming out here, folks. Lots is going to be coming.
And we were even talking like this in Garage Talk. It's interesting. We've said this before. Too much all at once could be a fracturing of the system and possibly, really putting a divergent void in the two sides of, we say what a good chunk of Americans still believe in. We're still apple pie and we've gone through the sky type thing, so we're still trying to break a lot of those sheeple and wake them up. And even this, what they're saying, it's hard. It's hard. Even the hard evidence right in front of them is probably the core group of those people. I mean, yeah, look at this. This is the branding. This is like stuff. Well, we don't do this anymore. This was in ancient times when they used to brand their slaves, and yeah, they still do that. People, they still do that.
So the Nexium trial. This all broke last year, Ben? Sometime.
About that. Yeah, about a year and a half or so. It was stirrings and.
So both sides rest their case after jurors see porn photos of Mexican child sex slave. The Nexium trial will proceed to closing arguments on Monday, with both sides resting their cases Friday after weeks of emotional testimony, including from the upstate New York cults imprisoned sex slaves themselves. An FBI agent showed jurors Thursday a series of photos of underage teen sex slave named Camellia, alleging that the cult leader Keith Raniere, who stands accused of trafficking, made pornographic photos of her. Camellia was an illegal immigrant trafficked into the cult from Mexico. Raniero's defense team, which was unsuccessfully tried multiple times to dismiss the case altogether, decided not to call any witnesses. So the FBI special agent Megan Reese presented more than 12 images of child pornography allegedly produced by the Nexium cult leader Keith Raniere in Raniere's trial Thursday at the Brooklyn Federal Court. So Raniere stands accused of sex trafficking during his tenure atop the elite upstate New York sex cult, where he was branding his female sex slaves. The full dark story of the Nexium's reign and terror is now coming to light. Witnesses have described how the sex cult illegally bundled money for Hillary Clinton, her presidential campaign, while trafficking in young girls from Mexico, providing them with fake documentation to evade immigration law. Evidence shows that Raniere wanted his branding sessions to emulate satanic human sacrifice rituals. A former Nexium sex cult slave named Daniela testified in the trial of the cult leader Keith Raniere, noting that she joined the cult at the age of 16. I mean, what do you take of all this stuff, man? This is just
wow, man. I mean, this is this is where a lot of us have really turned a blind eye, and not when there's been dissenters time when we say, hey, they're taking our children. Well, they're not. Why are they taking our children? And we talk about these. Well, the FBI says, clearly over 100,000 child abductions a year go unaccounted for, unsolved. We have no idea where these people are going, what they're doing. And then all of a sudden these, child trafficking rings come up and the branding and the slavery. And it's like, people think slavery only happened in a very, very short period of time, very, 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 very long time ago to a very select few group of people. But those select few group of people wasn't really what's factoring everything from the Irish to the Africans to the Jamaicans to now you have children, and they don't care if they're from Haiti, they're from Guatemala, from Mexico, from Canada, from America. It's like they they know no bounds, no country. No, they'll decimate a country just to get these human trafficking, which is really getting these children across the borders in every way, shape, or form. And this stuff is crazy sick. And to think that, you know, when we were kids, we could go, you know, ride our bikes down and go. I mean, I can remember in the 6th and 7th grade riding my bike a half mile to school. You know, I'm going through, you know, crosswalks, and, you know, things were way different. I remember hitchhiking when I was really, really young. You know, it's like before I got my license, it was like that was just the norm in some aspects. And nowadays, it is so prevalent that our society's appetites have gotten to the sort of everybody is like, what's it saying? Democrats introduced bill to bankrupt gun manufacturers with lawsuits. Now these Democrats got lots of people backing them about it.
To like a car accident, right? I mean, what if you know, what if you're drunk and you know, you cause great injury in that vehicle? Has that been the typical thing for the years to sue the car manufacturers, Ben, or is that something that sounds a little ridiculous?
Well, what does the car manufacturers do once you buy them in the small print? They say we're not liable for any type of illegal things you do with our vehicles. And it's almost like the Democrats are saying, well, that's good for most things except for these guns. It says, you know, according to a Zero Hedge report this week, Democrats introduced legislation in both the House and Senate that would make gun makers liable for firearms related crimes. Think about this. This bill, Equal Access to Justice for Victims of Gun Violence Act, would repeal the Protection of Lawful Commerce. Let's see here. Let's see. Repeal Lawful Commerce in Arms Act of 2005 that protect gun manufacturers from lawsuit. So check it out. Lawmaker from two of America's most anti-gun states, California and Connecticut, are leading the charge. Adam Schiff. Oh, Shifty is one of the elected officials campaigning this legislation. Hey, in a tweet, they said, look, it says, oh my gosh, victims of gun violence deserve their day in court. Okay, I understand if you're getting just gun violence, but I mean, what? Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal, remember that name, is also a co-sponsor for this bill.
Of course he is.
Since the fallout of the Sandy Hook shooting in 2012, Blumenthal has been one of the leading voices for gun control in Connecticut. The National Shooting Sports Foundation was in strong opposition to this bill. I wonder why. Senior Vice President of Government Affairs Lawrence Keene told the Daily Caller News Foundation that this bill is like blaming Ford or General Motors for the neglect use of their cars. What we were just talking about, you guys. What we were just talking about. He also added, it is wrong to hold the gun or any other industry liable for the criminal misuse of non-defective products sold lawfully. We were just talking about this. So, you know, this is what they're trying to repeal, people. We don't have to even read any further. It's quite obvious what they're trying to do. They're trying to use the Sandy Hook, all of these, well, I have to emphatically, in my best opinion, so these false flag events to basically demonize our arms. We know that like 80 to 90% of all major gun incidences, massacres are occurred with like pistols and handguns, not even with rifles. And they put things like it's an assault rifle. It's like, man, I didn't know that rifle could get up all by itself and assault somebody. Like, you know, this is my assault pencil.
And we
this
say
is
anything,
my assault drink.
Pencil, hammer, baseball bat, anything can be
this is my assault mouse. Careful, it's an assault mouse.
Your fists are assaulting somebody if you punch them with it. Now it's your assault.
Hey, if you kill somebody,
you're assault dick beaters. You know, you're assault. I mean, come on now.
I think those are the salty.
So we got to touch a little bit of the rabbit here, and the folks. Again, welcome all people. We got about 654. I'm seeing in the room. Awesome. So the cartel ? YouTube removes Project Veritas's new videos revealing mass censorship of even Pinterest, folks. All right, so I actually have a Pinterest link to the and I just recently started throwing the videos over there. I don't know if they're getting any traction, but So this is interesting here that this headline's up. So after YouTube suspended Project Veritas for posting a screenshot from the video, YouTube joined in the fray by removing the video from YouTube due to a third party filing a privacy complaint with the platform. So James O'Keefe, the founder of Project Veritas, conducted an interview with a whistleblower from Pinterest, a social media platform geared toward sharing images that showed the company's systematic censorship of conservatives and Christians on its platform. Terms about Christianity, including Easter and Bible verse, were blocked from the platform, and virtually every conservative news website, including Big League Politics, were added to the list of websites considered porn by the platform to prevent links from being shared. YouTube has now removed the viral video from its platform, citing a privacy claim by a third party, likely Pinterest. YouTube has removed the Pinterest insider story, wrote O'Keefe. The battle is on, he put. So right here is his tweet.
Go ahead.
It's crazy. Yeah, YouTube has removed Pinterest insider story. The battle is on. Support the insider who leaked the documents. He got fired here. So that's crazy. We don't need to read much more of this, but you guys can read the full article over at Big League Politics. We just like to kind of, get a little bit of the meat of the story.
Well, I think they just let the cat out of the bag, and we can as IT security experts here, we can say it's right here. Do you see in that article, Mike, when they were talking about all of this stuff is now going to be under the category of porn? Yeah. See, these people are too lazy to even change the old algorithms. Yeah. These old algorithms, they have to do with pornography, murder, threat. So this is real basic. These are old school algorithms. You see this? They can't even create a new algorithm. They're just saying, free speech. Oh, that's porn. Conservative views. Oh, porn. And therefore, the old school algorithm, pretty much probably the second or third generation that they rocked with, which is old nowadays, they haven't even. This is insanity. They're classifying conservative views as pornography. Like where is the interpretation of any law on any part of this land where somebody's vocal spewings or rhetoric can be construed as pornography? It's like, this is insanity.
Yeah, it's like it's moving so quick. It's like the old norms of just getting rid of people for these things that are truly like porn or just real violent kind of proceedings.
I agree with you.
People aren't doing it anymore, so now they want to go this extra mile. It's like, we really get tired of the free speech thing. It's just not really working well for us, so we're gonna squash that.
Blue Eyes number 3 said, "What? You're a Republican? That's porn."
Yeah, there you go. That's very porn.
I mean, you guys.
That's pornful.
That's
All right, what's this one here? Read this one, Ben.
Hey. Hundreds of conservatives gather for Squash Amish rally outside the Michigan office.
So outside of his. Representative Justin Amash or something.
Hamash, whatever. Is picked a fight for the wrong people. If I'm butchering his name, bear with me. Squash Amish.
Squash Amash. I'm thinking it's rhymes. Squash Amash.
Squash Amash. Okay, there you go. Let's do it. Squash Amash with the rhino. Approximately 200 Michigan conservatives gathered today at Squash Amash, demonstrating to pro-impeachment congressman that they want him booted from office of giving cover to the Democrats. The grassroots Patriot rallied outside Amash office in downtown Grand Rapids, Michigan this afternoon, where an energized audience made their voices heard in the 3rd Congressional District. Photos here. Amash is a traitor to his voters. Amash voters vote a Democrat. You can't fix stupid, but we can vote them out. I amen to that. No range, you're fired. It's for you. All right. So, okay.
Wow. Nice.
They're pretty serious. Look at the trailer in there.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's some good stuff.
The Trump trailer.
Any Q nail you?
Any Q in there? Let's see. It's probably something there. Let's see what else we got. What we got here? These great people all coming out.
Squash
Amash. I'm seeing all types of people up in there. All right.
Dear Justin, time to get a real job. put the kibosh on a mosh.
I like that one. That one's
That's
better.
good. That's real good.
That's good. Put the kibosh on a mosh.
A mosh is part of the swamp. Build
There
the
you
wall.
go. That's a little
Squash a mosh.
Mhm.
Looking for some of that Q paraphernalia.
Get your Q fix.
Get your Q fix here.
There you go. That's another naval veteran right there.
SSBN. Nuclear sub. A mosh. Tea party for Trump.
All right. Looks like they're all out. Hey, we're talking. We'll get them out. Get them out here. Conservative leaders address hundreds of an audience. Nadine Schellenbeck, leader of the West Michigan Republicans, boasts that there will be larger turnouts and more voters for Trump in 2020 despite Amash's sabotage campaign. I love what President Trump says about Amash. He's a lightweight loser. Go home. This is Kent County. This is Michigan. This is Trump country, Schellenbeck exclaimed. What are you doing here today is an amazing display of patriotism. It is democracy at work, said Jeff Webb of the New American Pollist, who spoke after Schellenbeck. The co-founder of the conservative blog 100% Fed Up spoke briefly up well about Amish's lies to harm President Trump. And this is just classic, those who don't really have much to stand on, pick up mud and throw at the most. It's interesting. It is. It's funny that these people even try to do this. And at least I'm glad to see, Michigan and like all the other states and even people like over Paul Harkins in Scotland taking your place over, man. I mean, this movement's going all over. And if, we're seeing, the southern states start to take traction as well. We're seeing, this is still Michigan we read here. State of Michigan's doing it. I mean, it's looking pretty cool, man. It is. It's things are happening all over, man. It's the amount of the indictments have gone through the roof now. I mean, the last time we checked, it was like at 90 something, which is just stupid crazy. And people are still leaving and stepping down, and they're not taking their balloon payments for retirement. They're coming in the limelight now. This whole Nexium thing,
who does
back
that?
out.
People that run companies. I mean, I can see if you switch from one up to the other, they'll jump around different ships, but politicians stepping down and removing themselves from power. It's like, I was going to go back to this private sector, back in. Oh, really? Odd. The other thing we talk about, so Trump, New World Order, any of that, signs of it, we like to keep. We know the New World Order doesn't want walls and border and sovereignty kept for America. They don't. That's the opposite. They want open borders, anyone to flow in. They're also having a huge issue with his trade agreements. Why is that, Ben? Why do you think they don't want him to?
They know. Well, because
the playing ground or tariffs, trade.
They know that he knows that they know that he knows that tariffs are going to bring them down. Because what do? We suckle off the tit of the Federal Reserve. They're not federal, nor do they have reserve. And we just loan. And tariffs have been what the original. I mean, we've talked about the original Constitution. Get back to it. And we're technology.
It's been usurped.
Yeah, it's been usurped. Okay, but how can we start to get back? Which is tariffs. More tariffs coming in from other countries literally equals more currency that we trade at this moment in time in your pocket. That's pretty much what it boils down to. We're not borrowing from the Federal Reserve. We're now taking monies that we're now quote unquote saving in our big giant piggy bank called the coffers of the of our Treasury
Department.
Of
the Treasury, the U.S. Department of Treasury. If there's money in there, man, we could always borrow from ourselves at zero interest, and
not even borrow from ourselves. That's where it goes into like public works. I mean, we talked about how many times, I mean, even in our IT security, how many points of weakness do we have in our security, in our infrastructure, in our roads, our bridges, our power stations, our hydroelectric dams? All these things are all pretty much run either off the internet or some type of remote generator or generator on site that all can be tapped in through very easily. And some of these bridges that a lot of that you and I use, some of us on a daily basis, are 50, 60 years old. And it only takes a semi that's under a heavy load. I mean, going a certain,
that's huge.
I mean, that's an infrastructure is huge. And so you see, that's the first thing that they start when they say the globalists, because we know there are a lot of them. That encompasses the Luciferianists, the atheists, the globalists, all those new world, one world order people. The first thing you start doing is basically your supply chain, which would be your infrastructure. I mean, you know, Mike and I always think about situations in a military standpoint. If you're going to be military conquering a people, or you're going to be going to a certain area, even in asymmetric warfare, we talk about Yuri Bezmenov, the defective KGB agent, and the art of subversion, a whole country. But the first thing you want to do is break that supply chain. And how do you do that? Well, in America, it's our infrastructure. It's our roads, our bridges. We've said countless times, all you truckers are like the backbone of America. Like, you guys are like awesome, because 48 hours, all would be if all the truckers across the North American continent stopped driving, turned the keys off and said no more. And I mean, I got great respect for you guys. And my uncle was a trucker for like 40 years. And he talked to me a lot about the logistics, that the actual amount of goods that are covered across America. Yeah, we have the rail and we have, you know, the FedEx and things like that, but the bulk of our foods and our things like that, that's the logistics. We use the roads and the bridges every single day, and that's not being maintained. Yet you said, we talked about, we have Trump coming in, and he's not only putting a kibosh to us borrowing from this evil plague of cabal of bankers.
So Tony Rader, real quick, thanks for the super chat, Tony. We really, really appreciate it very much.
Oh, wow,
and
yeah.
we just got another one from, get back down here because I had to go way back just to check, because I hadn't checked this in a minute, folks. But Jeff Stewart, where we go on, we go all winning. Yes, winning, of course. Blue Eyes, welcome. Twilly Wachikaki. Gene Wissinger, Colin Peterson, Jeff Stewart, Randy Robbins with a Q, welcome.
And Teo, MJ420X.
No, that's an interesting point there that Ben was getting into, and well, what we were just talking about there, the whole border trade, coffers refunding our own. And that leads me to this little article here. The globalist, folks, the globalist central bankers are uniting to derail Trump's agenda, his America First trade agenda. All right. So I had covered something similar a few days ago, that they were interfering, the deep state, the Illuminati. They're definitely trying to stop Trump. So the International Monetary Fund and European Central Bank do not want Trump to make America great again. Of course they don't. So two of the most powerful international bankers in the world are teaming up in a joint effort to halt President Donald Trump's America First trade policies. Mario Draghi, and President of the European Central Bank, ECB, and Christine Lagarde, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, are urging Trump to abandon his trade war and return to the status quo preferred by the globalist financiers. We meet at a moment when support of the global cooperation and multilateral solutions is waning. Lagarde said that the 8th ECB conference for the Central Eastern and Southeastern European CESEE nations on Wednesday. Global growth has been subdued for more than 6 years, and the largest economies in the world are putting up or threatening to put up new trade barriers. And this might be the beginning of something else, which might affect us all more in a broad way, she added. So, let me see here, pull that down a little more. Lagarde also warned these troubling developments will create headwinds for all, but certainly for the CESEE growth model, a model that has relied on openness and integration. So basically, of course, it's been great for them, riding off the coattails of other countries that put in more or do more. It's not been fair.
Well, let's just break down who these two people are and who they represent. One is the International Monetary Fund. This is the apex organization that controls monetary exchange and movement from one country to another. They're like the third party. The other one is the EEC, whatever. It's a conglomeration of the Eastern European, blah, blah, blah. They control that money. That's a bank that's almost like their central bank. So you have the, excuse me, the two highest, most powerful bankers that most people have never, ever heard of. Do you hear Rockefeller? Is that JP Morgan? The Rothschilds? Is there any of those big, huge names we always hear of? It's just a little obscure, and these people are worth trillions. So it's like, if they are not happy, what is that telling you? Because we've already told you, when one sovereign country does business with another sovereign country, it is a direct chain of business. There is no middleman. We say, we trade you our cars, you come back for this, and we trade in the way of goods. And whatever is the good doesn't make up the deficient of the overall trade, then we take their money in direct to our coffers, or they take our money in direct to their coffers. There is no, and that's where it's like we talk about, obviously, money being based on gold, like the new Chinese yuan. Well, for whatever it is, that's based on gold. So we can see that when we start making direct deals with one sovereign country to another, it completely eliminates these middle people saying, we'll take your funds and we'll transfer it from petrodollars to your dollar, back to American dollars, back to the petrodollar, back to your money, and then we'll take your loan and your insurance and we'll base it off Federal Reserve notes and we'll back it over here. And then we'll let this company over here take the fall. If they take the risk on it, then we'll bundle that up into this little bundle package, and we'll give it to the International Monetary Fund. And they'll value it at a certain level because it has all these mortgages and stuff wrapped up in it. Then we'll resell it back to the American people as a commodity in the insurance. It's all word porn in money that has to deal with the Federal Reserve notes and other huge banking cartels. And so if they're coming out and the news is actually they're allowing their names to be printed, think about it. How come we don't know these people? You have to really do research to find these people's names. They're not usually, their names aren't printed in normal articles. It's like that should be a little tip to the hat of something's not going the way it should have gone.
Yes. So another side note, me and Ben have been talking about lately, and we'll kind of go on to this one, then we'll close it out with the person commenting on JFK Jr. and just our thoughts. We'll both take a little minute on how it could be cool, but how maybe it's not so important. But regardless, there was possibly a picture there and what really actually happened. But anyway, the Democrats were founded by racists, and their real intent was to exterminate, certain groups of people with, and we always talked about, how did that even flip, or how did that even, when was that? Was there actually a point in history where you can go back and just say, here's where that flipped, here's where the Republicans became the party of racism? And we know in 1993 was the first Democratic senator or somebody on Congress, I believe.
Representative, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like, wow, just in 93, huh? So the Democrats were founded by racists, and their real intent is to exterminate the African-American population. That's interesting. So the problem, go ahead and read some of this here, Ben.
So the problem with most American voters is they do not know their own history. The Democrats were founded by racists who have evolved into a party covert racists that have somehow convicted minorities to go against their own best interest. Below is a collection of 4 articles I feel are pertinent to this discussion. It's over 4,700 words, but those 4,700 words are very important. If you can read them all now, please bookmark and come back later, because I guarantee that if you read this piece in full, you would never look at the Democrats in the same way, unless you're, of course, already known these facts. Okay. Democrats were founded by racist. Okay. I have all those voting Democrats for the next 200 years. Lyndon B. Johnson, the two governors of air. Force one according to Ronald Kessler's book Inside the House, the White House.
So that's
Southern
the source
Manifesto.
of Southern Manifesto, nasty truth about Democrats and civil rights.
So read that one here.
This is what he's talking about. This is 4,700 words here.
Is it
Could
keep
very
on
well
going? Is
be.
it? I think that is. Al Sharpton, Louis Farrakhan talk about it. Martin Luther King was a Republican. Ooh, that's it.
Somehow the Democrats have championed MLK, even though MLK was never championed by the Democrats. Funny how people forget history in this country. The Democrats have co-opted and championed the likes of MLK to further their fake agenda. One of the key issues for Democrats is abortion. Do you know that the Planned Parenthood was founded by, we know, Margaret Sanger, right?
She's a eugenicist bigot. A eugenicist is somebody who plays with a certain race of people to extinguish them. So, yeah. What does old Margaret Sanger say about this? We don't want the word to get out that want to exterminate the Negro population. Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood.
So I'm going to link this video below. You guys can read it. The whole thing, we're just kind of highlighting some of it. So here's a fullest version of what Sanger wrote. Always to me, was aroused group was a good group. Always to me, any aroused group was a good group. And therefore, I accept the invitation to talk to the women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan at Silver Lake, New Jersey. One of the weirdest experiences I had in lecturing. Never before had I looked into a sea of faces like these. I was sure that if I uttered one word, such as abortion, outside the usual vocabulary of these women, they would go off in hysteria. And so my address that night had to be in the most elementary terms. As I was there trying to make children understand, in the end, through simple illustrations, I believed I had accomplished my purpose. A dozen invitations to speak to similar groups were proffered. The conversation went on and on and on, and when we were finally through, it was too late to return to New York. Sanger, chapter 29.
So she had like basically dumb it down in such a way to make it like as children, like, ooh, we love that. This sounds great.
Yeah. Wow. So there's 79% of Planned Parenthood strategically abortion facilities are located within walking distance from Black or Hispanic communities. We know all these facts, folks. We do know lots of these facts.
This is just what we need to get it back out there for sure.
So that is an interesting. So this is a huge article. Okay, so to wrap this up for this live stream, JFK Jr. I'm just going to put it like this, folks. I don't know. I know that I was part of looking for that plane in 1999 in July. I don't know what we were looking for or if there was some kind of orchestrated event. To me, it seems like now in 95, roughly in 95, George Magazine was created for the purpose of him to get out his own announcement. I do believe that it was a magazine not owned by the cabal or the Illuminati. They didn't have their hands in it. If he was breaking down secret meanings in there, they shots across the bow to them. They were reading this just like anything that you would pick up by them. All right, there's going to be symbology. We know in all the movies and all the TV shows, they say things. There's things in the background purposely put there, even if the actors aren't 100% involved. They're not aware of everything going on and all the symbology, even words that they might say, because words are written in movies, right? There's a script. They follow. They just learn it. They don't typically get a lot of leeway to just write their own scripts. We know some funny actors and actresses get a little bit of leeway for some jokes. But so anyway, if he was in the midst of releasing things and ideas that he had about this system, 4 years into it, 5 years into it, they find a bomb, he goes down. Either that or he didn't. All right, either he, they talked about this bomb and if we come out in the news that you didn't die and that we found it, they're just going to come back again in a year, in 6 months, and 2 years. You're pumping gas, you're on a boat, you're getting on a commercial airliner. They're going to evidently maybe come back and get you regardless. So maybe at that point he goes underground. It's all plausible. All right, all of that is plausible. I know some of you are really wrapped up on it. It would be crazy. You look at that one magazine cover from George from February 99 or July 99. I'm not exactly sure. Let me see here if I can pull them up real fast. Did I pull them up through image? Maybe right here. No, that's not it. But so anyway, you look at those magazine images from George there, folks, and there is a Mount Rushmore in the background on that same cover. It talks about Hillary indictments. It talks about pulling the magazine out in 20 years, dusting it off, maybe give it some, and in 20 years pull this off, and talks about you can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. That's crazy. And there is something floating around about him possibly reemerging next summer. Trump just announced on his Twitter there will be fireworks back at Mount Rushmore. It's going to be a huge celebration. There's going to be a huge announcement. There's going to be fireworks, soldiers, bands, USA, a 4th of July party. So, again, awesome. We'll follow along. That's about all I have to say on it. I don't really have any huge amount of predictive stuff. I think it would be awesome either way or the other. I don't put a lot of, stake into it or it's just, if they're wanting it to remain quiet, sure. If that was some kind of plan, that's all it's going to be, is it going to remain quiet until they decide. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Ben? Because there are a lot of comments coming in on that. Yeah, no, I mean, I would say that, on point. Obviously, you've said the background of it, this and that. I would reiterate that, Pence is not running for vice president in 2020. Trump hasn't announced who his VP is going to be, but we know that Pence is not going to be his VP. That's interesting. I'm just going to throw out a bunch of dots, and if they connect, they connect. If they don't, they don't. We know that JFK Jr. Was a part of one of the original 13 Illuminati bloodlines, the Kennedys, by Fritz Springmeier. We also know that through that he had access to lots of wealth beyond what you and I, or a lot of us, can understand. So him going away into that kind of stuff, very interesting. Did he die in the airplane that you guys were out there looking for at sea when you were serving in the Navy? That's a possibility. I know that we can make remote controlled vehicles, and all those pilots RC died, cars. Or the footage is lost. The pilots got all moved to different, weird things. 17 people who showed up to the funeral, by the way. I know that when we've both been in military mechanical things that have black boxes that can withstand the biggest explosions, the most things data bunkers and things like this that you can portable stuff that can withstand that. And a lot of these planes have this kind of stuff. And so is he JFK Jr.? Is he in the shadows? He's gonna be coming out in 2020 at Mount Rushmore, and it's exclusive. It's gonna be there coming out. That's gonna be the survival guide for the future. So look here on the left of this, right here, Mount Rushmore just sitting in the back. Mm-hmm. And also there's a full moon on top of Mount Rushmore, so it might tell you the time of month. I mean, you can get crazy with it, or he did die, and him and Trump were really good friends. I mean, think about, we've talked about this, that when you're Trump and you're JFK Jr., you're at that level of wealth and that kind of thing. Who do you make as your friends? Who's the kid you grew up with, right? And that happens, and so this could have spiked the thing in your friend where, hey, they killed him, oh my gosh, or it was, just like I showed there, JFK Jr., the letter to the editor's letter, knew that if he ran, that he would probably be taken out just like his father, so he took his own magazine. And so we hope you enjoyed George's take on the future. Why not to put it in a safe place? Why not put it in a safe place somewhere and take it out in 20 years? To paraphrase in a great Englishman, it may not get what you want, but you just might find it. You'll get what you need. And so you understand why is that their call, their song they play at every rally,
Why is that always constant? Is that a tip of the hat to his dead friend? Is that a tip of the hat to his friend waiting in the backgrounds, knowing that, hey, come 2020, we're going to bring this thing out. That's going to be the head, the apex, the crescendo of the indictments to all the evil, satanic cabal, the globalist. Is things been put in place? We've been talking about certain acts that have still in Congress. They haven't gotten shot down, like the dollar being.
There's no proof JFK Jr. died. You're right. There is no proof.
I agree. That's why Grandpa C. That's why I'm saying is
just a story.
Either way, we're giving a bunch of things. It's like, okay, if he did die, that was great motivation to start all this thing. What else could happen? If he didn't die, he did have the money to be able to go off in hiding. These people had multiple, places to live all over this earth. They weren't just confined like you and I. He was rubbing shoulders with the billionaires, and their parents were multi-billionaires. So I mean, if he is alive, crazy. But we're also saying is what difference will that make if he's alive or he's not alive right now when it comes to our freedoms, pushing the Constitution? If he is alive and he comes out, wow, cool. At this point, it's not mind-blowing. We went over things like Mothers of Darkness. You just went over the satanic influence on the media and Hollywood, where we live in now. And it's like, that's crazy because, well, if you want to talk about the satanic, that's like biblical stuff's happening in a certain area, in a certain thing. And it's just crazy to think that if he was alive, that's honestly not really that surprising. It'd be like there you go. Yeah. We're the Q team. He was
moving forward now after he comes back, and if he's going to be
what is he going to do?
If he's going to be Trump's vice president for the last 4, and then he goes on to run for the 2024. Oh my God, these are all great things.
Maybe 8 more out of there. I mean,
and then after 8 years of him, we get back to Trump Jr. runs, and we get 8 years of him. Oh my gosh, we just got a dynasty. 18 years of like maybe possible really good fixture.
Constitution
to put this road back on track. It's a great thing. So we're definitely interested. But that is crazy. It's all crazy. And if somebody was going to dig and find these people out, it could have been Junior. That was his whole life. He dove in.
If anybody had the means and the ability, I mean,
so
that would be the person.
I agree. So there is definitely a panic in DC, folks. We're going to leave you with that. This was actually a trial. I'm glad Ben was able to have some time. We did about a half hour before we ever even went live, and then I tried it, put numbers in again, and it worked. But the other day with Woodman, I could not get it to engage. I take it to just be a hiccup.
It was weird.
So look for our next show, too, with the live call-ins, folks. We're going to definitely get back to that possibly this Sunday evening or something. I know that's always a good time. People are at home, do some call-ins, take some of you great Patriots here in the chat room. Again, thanks for all of the super chats. We really, really appreciate it. And all the
super awesome. Thumbs up. Yes, for sure. Thumbs up. God bless you guys. And
on your way out, share the video across your social media platforms. Give it a thumbs up. And we appreciate it. Any final words to the viewers there, Ben?
Nah, just keep the faith up, keep praying. I think Woodman would say, keep praying for everybody, your friends and family, and keep your family close, man, because there are evil things in this world who want them, and we went over that today, and bring them up in the right ways, and keep them strong, and keep on pushing your rights, because if you don't use them, you lose them.
That's right.
What do you say? Give them up to idiots. You can never get them back.
All right, brother. Well, we'll see you here on the next Patriot Hour, and everyone else, thanks for joining in. Ben said it best there, and like Woodman says, never give up anything to idiots, because you can never get it back. It's always really, really hard. So that's your First Amendment, your Second Amendment, your Fourth Amendment's already been trampled on, and we're trying to correct that. So again, God bless each and every one of you from here at the Patriot Hour. We'll see you here on the next broadcast video. Look for another live show possibly tomorrow evening, and videos throughout the day. Again, I'm Michael, Patriot Hour. You guys have a great evening, and we'll see you back here. Panic in DC.
recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive.
Fight for what's right. Fight for your